Welcome back to Global Royal Insider. You're spot on. This represents one of the gravest security lapses in over 3 decades at the heart of British royalty. Today, authorities are delving deep into the circumstances surrounding the event. As dusk enveloped London, an alert blared across the royal estate. Security personnel dashed through the palace hallways, with rumors of a critical situation spreading rapidly. In secluded chambers, discussions intensified urgently, culminating in King Charles issuing an immediate directive that reverberated throughout the entire residence. The significance of this choice underscored the severity of the unfolding crisis. It seemed as though the palace itself was besieged, as one aide later recounted. Amid the escalating unease, swift decisions were essential to safeguard the monarchy. This is the unfolding story of the incident. The palace loomed under the oppressive night sky, its windows faintly illuminated, as if the structure itself sought to conceal the mounting anxiety within. Sentries paced nervously at the entrances, exchanging uneasy glances, while household staff murmured in hushed tones about potential developments. Everyone sensed an irregularity permeating the air, with tension building incrementally. "Have you caught wind of what transpired?" one palace guard inquired of another. Within, footsteps resonated through the corridors as couriers hastened along the polished surfaces, transporting confidential directives without full awareness of their contents. Domestic workers who had been preparing for rest were abruptly recalled to their stations. The entire complex appeared animated, as if the whole establishment had been jolted awake. "I initially assumed it was merely a routine drill," one guard admitted. The chimes, typically signaling mundane alerts, resonated with an unusual edge that night, instilling a profound sense of dread in those who heard them. Instructions flowed rapidly, compelling individuals from their beds and into designated waiting zones where they could only speculate. The customary palace rhythm had been disrupted, replaced by uncertainty. "We were utterly clueless about the situation," a maid whispered. Silhouettes elongated dramatically across the courtyard as entrances were secured and sealed. Personnel huddled closely, straining for insights. The cool night breeze enveloped them, imbued with an eerie strangeness, as if the palace itself discouraged outsiders. "Something felt profoundly amiss. I sensed it deeply in my core," remarked an elderly staff member. Through the expansive stairwells and carpeted pathways, authoritative voices pierced the stillness. Senior officials barked precise commands, their footsteps echoing forcefully as they deployed teams strategically. The palace transitioned from its standard serenity to a heightened state of vigilance, resembling a fortified outpost. "Position everyone immediately," a high-ranking officer commanded. In the monarch's outer chamber, assistants lingered anxiously beside a solitary crimson dossier resting on the desk. This folder, bearing the royal insignia, frequently contained pressing matters, and its nocturnal emergence quickened pulses. Pens moved swiftly over documents as critical directives were formulated. "Whenever that red folder emerges, it's invariably significant," noted one aide. Clerks attempted to contact external lines, but were swiftly dismissed before completing their calls. Phones remained untouched, prohibited, as the team awaited authorization. This abrupt disconnection from the external world intensified the enigma. "They instructed us to suspend all communications," a junior clerk grumbled. Clearly, this isn't a trivial affair. In one of the western sections, caretakers gathered, exchanging fragmented speculations. The thick walls muffled most noises, yet indistinct voices and rushed movements seeped through like fragmented transmissions. Their hands fidgeted with handkerchiefs as they steadied themselves. "We were directed to remain in the West Wing," a housekeeper explained. Near the royal study, sentries conversed in low tones about the recent events. They had observed the king personally, his demeanor resolute as he delivered an unequivocal command. The impact of that resolution disseminated rapidly among witnesses. "His Majesty issued the directive himself," one guard stated. Beyond the palace barriers, chauffeurs idled in their vehicles, gazing at the reinforced iron gates. Some had returned late from duties only to encounter sealed access. The emergency closure left them pondering an indefinite wait until sunrise. The gates were secured just before midnight, one driver recounted in astonishment. Along the adjacent thoroughfare, pedestrians began noticing flashing blue lights in the distance. Police vehicles amassed near the mall, drawing inquisitive onlookers eager for glimpses of the disturbance. The royal abode had unexpectedly become the focal point of widespread concern. "I spotted the police lights illuminating the street," added a passerby. On the garden perimeter, officers were instructed to remain vigilant and primed. Their gazes scanned the foliage and barriers, detecting every subtle shadow while listening intently for further signals. The intervals between directives amplified the burden. "We were ordered not to abandon our stations," an officer recalled. In another hallway, a secretary grasped a folded document embossed with the royal emblem. She had been tasked with urgent delivery without delay, her hands quivering as she complied. The ink remained fresh as she passed by awaiting colleagues. It had been nearly an hour, yet the nature of the issue remained undisclosed. "They mentioned an emergency decree had been signed," she murmured. Throughout the metropolis, information leaked faster than anticipated within the palace. Reporters received anonymous tips, and soon tales of the Midnight Directive proliferated. Telephones buzzed across London, disseminating shock and conjecture. "The news disseminated quicker than anticipated," a staff member confessed. But this was merely the inception. The specifics of the incident awaited revelation. The evening of the palace disruption unfolded as the clock neared 10:20 p.m., when the initial indication of trouble manifested. A subdued, abrupt noise reverberated through the east wing, akin to a fracture in the atmosphere. Nearby personnel froze, straining to discern it anew. "I detected something heavy striking the floor," recounted a chamber attendant. That segment of the palace was seldom utilized, rendering the sound particularly suspicious. Shortly thereafter, a patrolling guard spotted a partially ajar door that ought to have been secured, prompting him to investigate. He flung it open to discover documents strewn haphazardly, suggesting hasty departure. The peculiar scene propelled him to alert superiors. "That door was never meant to be ajar," the guard noted, intuiting complications. In a separate passageway, a lantern's flame wavered, as if disturbed by an unseen current. Supply carriers halted abruptly, puzzled by the intrusion of air into a supposedly airtight area. Their containers clattered as they set them down in alarm. "We suspected someone had preceded us," a porter stated. They remained motionless, debating whether to proceed or flee. "I immediately recognized something was misplaced," one remarked. Within the library, tomes rested askew on shelves where fingers had grazed them. A partially drawn drape swayed, despite no open windows. The palace canines, typically quiescent at night, barked ferociously near the southern wing. Their howls reverberated off the stone facades, alerting distant staff. Heads turned, anticipating clarifying sounds. "The dogs had never vocalized like that previously," a gardener observed. Sentries charged down the primary staircase, their boots thundering. They divided into pairs, scrutinizing corners intently. Near the service areas, a tray of crockery smashed against the tiles as a chef lost control. Her focus had locked onto a shadow she swore traversed the corridor. The shattering drew others from their quarters to assess the commotion. "I distinctly saw a figure pass by," the chef asserted. Personnel were deployed to inspect every section, urged not to decelerate. Their methodical sweep imbued the structure with rare urgency. They advanced as if peril already infiltrated, an attendant noted. They navigated side entrances and ascended staircases, relaying discoveries. "We sprinted as though the walls propelled us," a guard described. In the gallery, a portrait tilted marginally on its hook, seemingly jostled by an invisible force. Guards scrutinized the frame meticulously for tampering signs. Perspiration beaded their brows despite the chilly air. The abrupt anomaly darkened the environment unusually. No one could elucidate the tilt. "It was unprecedented," a sentry remarked. A servant adjacent to the royal suites recalled overhearing murmurs conversing down the hall. The tones were faint and unfamiliar, implying interlopers in forbidden zones. His hands trembled, recounting the episode. "I discerned words but no visage," the servant shared. At the primary entry, lamps flickered as if buffeted by gusts, yet the portals remained firmly closed. "It evoked the palace breathing autonomously," an officer stated. A cleaning crew discovered a glove near the marble steps, unclaimed by any. Its material was moist and dusted with floor residue. They presented it to a supervisor who appeared unsettled. "We couldn't identify the owner," a cleaner explained. The glove underwent examination, revealing nothing overt, yet suspicions arose of hasty abandonment. Chapel candles had diminished excessively, wax overflowing as if agitated. The custodian furrowed his brow, detecting activity in a seldom visited space. He made the sign of the cross hastily before departing. Someone must have entered prior, the custodian surmised. The monarch was notified instantly, and his private study soon hosted senior personnel. They apprised him that the palace was compromised, a secretary relayed. From the courtyard balcony, a fleeting silhouette materialized before dissipating. Below, observers gestured, convinced of its reality. Guards converged, finding naught. "I glimpsed a figure, but it vanished swiftly," a witness reported. Their accounts clashed as they detailed shadows, sounds, and displaced items. Each revelation thickened the dread-laden atmosphere. The king's decisive reaction ensued. The study portal sealed behind the final officer, encircling the monarch with charts, memos, and insistent voices. Chandeliers glowed intensely despite the late hour, casting light over the expansive desk. All awaited guidance, eyes on the ultimate authority. His Majesty regarded us without initial utterance, an advisor recounted. Reports amassed hastily, each delineating apparitions, odd noises, or subtle anomalies. An officer leaned in, enumerating specifics methodically. The king remained composed, absorbing each detail. "I articulated the facts as lucidly as possible for all present," the officer stated. Proposals circulated, some advocating dawn delay, but the king intervened decisively. His denial was unequivocal, head shaking as he rejected postponement. He comprehended threats outpaced daylight, and delay amplified risks. Immediate action was imperative. He declined to await morning, an aide narrated. External murmurs at the gates had infiltrated, heightening internal strain. Crowds assembled, and the king recognized indecision as vulnerability to public and household scrutiny. He inclined forward, voice resolute, emphasizing prompt measures. He insisted the palace must not appear vulnerable, a senior aide recalled. The king grasped his pen, wielding it steadily over the parchment. Phrases emerged rapidly, devoid of doubt, and the crimson seal was affixed authoritatively. Upon completion, the document bound the realm under royal mandate. The decree was executed before us, the secretary affirmed. Messengers were summoned, traversing the marble swiftly from the study. Each directive ignited fresh activity throughout. From section to section, commands proliferated like wildfire, mobilizing all. "We hasten more than ever to execute the king's will," a messenger shared. The monarch mandated doubled sentries at every post, dispersing them across thresholds, stairs, and pathways. Augmented uniforms instilled a formidable presence, supplanting tranquility. Staff treaded cautiously under vigilant scrutiny. "We were instructed to secure every niche," a high-ranking officer detailed. The barriers themselves groaned as locks engaged, isolating the palace. Hinges creaked protractedly. Chains jingled, iron slid, fortifying defenses. Beyond, masses pressed nearer, conjecturing internal secrets amid flashing blue beacons. Outsiders amplified their whispers, a bystander noted. Within royal quarters, attendants relocated family to secure areas. Drapes sealed tightly, locks verified doubly, footsteps muted to shield from external disturbances. The king insisted no vulnerability persist. "We congregated in protected spaces," a lady-in-waiting stated. The king forbade distractions amid palace safeguarding. Directives extended to stringent communication oversight. Telephones were monitored, usage curtailed under his supervision. No transmission proceeded without approval, tightening control. "We couldn't contact kin," a clerk lamented. The palace buzzed with activity and illumination. Sentries scoured gardens, lanterns projecting eerie shadows on hedges and foliage. No recess escaped scrutiny, treated as contested terrain. The king reconvened senior officers to validate executions. They formed a semicircle, reciting reports, documenting measures. Post-account silence elicited his nod of endorsement. He listened intently, speaking sparingly, an officer observed. The king then directed aides to draft communications for ministerial briefings. He foresaw containment limits with rumors inevitable. His palm pressed the desk emphatically. He cautioned the issue might escalate to Parliament, an aide relayed. By midnight, the palace had metamorphosed unrecognizably. Routine service yielded to command-driven structure. Sentries guarded every juncture. Servants awaited under surveillance, monarch's word dictating actions. It resembled a citadel, a housekeeper described. The palace demanded absolute protection. Escalating public apprehension followed. Initial palace whispers escaped confinement swiftly. Urban rumors circulated of anomalous events, albeit vaguely. Closed shops witnessed clusters debating peculiar occurrences. "We perceive the bells, yet no rationale," a shopkeeper remarked. Dawn ushered speculative headlines in newspapers and pamphlets. Titles hinted at upheaval, implying royal household disruption. Pedestrians congregated at corners, reciting snippets, others peering over shoulders. Narratives intensified with repetition. We perused the scant publications, a printer noted. Markets transformed into discourse hubs. Housewives lingered post-purchases, swapping rumors like valuables. Commuters paused to contribute, children wide-eyed at tales of centuries and barriers. The marketplace hummed unusually. We discussed amid transactions, a farmer shared. Taverns exuded heightened intensity. Patrons, mugs neglected, huddled sharing updates. Claims of nocturnal riders or distant shouts proliferated. Veracity mattered less than dissemination. We debated the reality, a patron recounted. Correspondence disseminated from urban to rural locales, laden with incident details. Recipients convened by hearths for readings. Narratives evolved subtly, unease persisting, a villager stated. Gate crowds swelled hourly. Individuals jostled for sentry or attendant sightings. Vendors hawked sustenance to the assembly. The once distant palace became public epicenter. We lingered until exhaustion, a bystander admitted. Authorities deployed troops at strategic points, stern directives maintaining distance. Murmurs persisted, armed presence fueling distrust. We were ordered back, a crowd member reported. Parliamentary inquiries emerged. Ministers fielded demands for clarifications, assemblies debating probes. Palace opacity bred speculation among skeptics. We questioned withheld explanations, a parliamentarian stated. Coffee houses blended politics with gossip, debates extending nocturnally. Pamphleteers capitalized, alleging negligence or intrigue. The populace devoured content as truth, a pamphleteer noted. Urban sentiment soured, whispers replacing mirth. Carriage wheels seemed amplified as gazes followed. Anticipation loomed as if greater revelations neared. We sensed impending developments, a merchant observed. Harbor towns echoed rumors, sailors relaying aboard vessels. Departures carried tales overseas, foreign observers intrigued. We learned en route, a sailor shared. Sermons urged restraint, yet congregations exited engrossed. Sacred and secular intertwined. We were cautioned against gossip, futilely, a parishioner confessed. Rural interpretations varied, plots against the king, familial conflicts or assaults. Ambiguity fueled fantasies. We believed crown peril, a farmer asserted. Traveling merchants disseminated along routes. Inns hosted exchanges of versions. Rumors traversed like flames. We encountered it at every halt, a traveler detailed. By week's end, the tale transcended origins. A nocturnal oddity became national fixation. Unanswered queries burdened minds universally. We awaited the king's address, a townsman stated, pivotal for national trajectory. Political strife intensified. Subsequent days saw parliamentary chambers agitated. Members arrived prematurely, dialogues urgent. Ministers conferred privately, exchanging memos on the event. Sparse details weighed heavily in Westminster. We conversed pre-session, a clerk recalled. The Prime Minister addressed first, urging stability, yet evasive responses provoked dissent. Palace muteness exposed him. We demanded transparency, a member insisted. Opposition capitalized aggressively. Accusations flew of governmental concealment, implying monarchical erosion or ministerial deceit. The floor echoed with recriminations. Everyone clamored until chaos ensued, an observer noted. Citizen letters inundated Parliament, demanding assurances of national safety. Clerks labored nocturnally cataloging. We hauled baskets, not bundles, a secretary described. Pamphlets proliferated outside, accusing factions, distributed freely. Crowds recited, aligning loyalties. We exchanged papers, a vendor stated. Alliances fractured internally. Loyalists distanced, fearing suspicion. Resignation whispers circulated, signaling instability. We heard departure talks, an aide shared. The king's silence exacerbated issues. Ministers improvised narratives, opposition demanding exposure. Royal absence was palpable. We inquired about His Majesty's quietude, unanswered, a representative stated. Foreign diplomats monitored from embassies, dispatching nocturnal reports of parliamentary turmoil and street fury. Scandal exploitation fears stirred international apprehensions. We cautioned external scrutiny, a diplomat warned. Nocturnal sessions debated responses, disclosure versus secrecy for crown protection. Impasses formed, urgency mounting. We deliberated until depletion, a minister recounted. Press gallery overflowed, journalists transcribing, distorting speeches for editions. Politicians confronted misrepresentations. Our words were mangled, a parliamentarian lamented. Protests erupted outside Westminster, placards aloft demanding elucidation. Mounted police restrained, chants infiltrating chambers. We demonstrated vociferously, a protestee